Welcome to Solutions with Courtney Anderson. I'm Courtney Anderson, and this is episode 246, episode 246 of this program, Solutions with Courtney Anderson. And in our show today, in episode 246, we have a program that is part of our Help Situation Spotlight series. That is our series where someone is asking for help. A community member like yourself has shared with me or one of my team members a concern or a question, and so we build shows around it, coming up with, guess what, solutions, which is the name of the show. So our specific topic today for episode 246, which again, amazing. I have to continue to share with you my gratitude and appreciation. We first started these shows in 2012, just testing the water a little bit. Then 2013, then 2014, really committed to the show with a very, very heavy production schedule. Now here we are in the time of recording this in 2015, and I hope that we have many, many more years to come as we continue to perfect this this vehicle as I just shared that we've put years into. But it's definitely worth it, and I love it. So thank you. So here in episode 246, what are we talking about? Well, this is a show that I felt in many ways sort of had to be done. So our show topic today is, how do I handle haters? How do I handle haters? That's our show topic, and as I said, it kind of had to be done. There's been quite a bit of pop culture attention to this concept of somebody's a hater, and the term has gotten so prevalent over years. It's used in settings sometimes you wouldn't even think, more professional settings, by all different types of demographics in all different parts of the world. So I went to my Oxford English Dictionary to see, well, what does the dictionary define this term hater, right? Somebody's a hater. Our question is, how do I handle haters? But what is a hater, right? Before we talk about the plural, how do I handle them? What are they? What is it? What is a hater? Well, according to my Oxford Dictionary entry, a hater is a person who greatly dislikes a specified person or thing. Wow, okay. That sounds pretty simple. As always, I do encourage you to stop by CourtneyAnderson.com. That's our central website where we have all 246 episodes. Each episode has its own show page, episode page, where we have notes and highlights and links to things we talk about in the show. And we're coming back through now, and we're adding different webinars and programs and courses that relate to different topics. So you'll continue to see more resources. I know it doesn't seem impossible sometimes. You look at the website, moving toward 1,000 pages of content, but that's why we do this, right? It's about solutions and sharing knowledge for anybody who wants to find something helpful. And it's a great way for me, outside of my other professional endeavors, to reach people who are not clients of my law firm, people who are not enrolled in one of my graduate business courses, someone who's not interacting with me in one of those other ways, which is limited to a certain extent, right? There's so many clients and only so many students and so many organizations I can go to and do on-site corporate training and education programs. So when you go to CourtneyAnderson.com, you go to page 246, you'll see the link to the Oxford Dictionary definition. And it, again, a person, okay, that's easy, right? Human, who greatly dislikes, all right, we understand that, right? Dislike a specific person or thing, got it. And the way that this term is utilized often, especially in the States, is this concept that the person speaking is saying, you know what? I don't care about my haters. I don't care about haters. There was another pop culture reference, it's a couple years ago now, right? That with a hater, right? Someone who just greatly dislikes you, right? You're the specified person they dislike. The pop culture idea is, I'm going to brush them off, right? I'm just going to sort of, the idea, the imagery, right? Like there they are, they're hating me, they're a hater, right? They greatly dislike me. I'm going to just brush them off. And there was even a pop culture reference out of some great music that, I'm going to brush them off of my shoulders, right? There they are, just trying to give attention and or trying to get attention and give me stress. And I'm gonna brush them off. I'm gonna dismiss them from my world. They're not worthy. They're a hater. They just greatly dislike me. And because of that, I'm gonna use this term to label them, right? I'm gonna take the power away from them. And I'm going to turn around this whole dynamic instead of saying, hey, you know what, you're a hater and that's causing me stress, or you're an obstacle to my success in the workplace, or you're trying to sabotage my career. I'm not going to let that happen. In fact, I'm going to publicly label you as a hater. And by doing so, I'm letting the world know this is what you are. You're just somebody who greatly dislikes me. And I'm the specified person, right? That you greatly dislike, or you may greatly dislike something that I produce. You dislike my business. You dislike my music. You dislike my writing. You dislike my ideas. All right. And by doing that, I diminish the person, right? I say, I know what you are. Any critique you may put forward is not valid because your critique isn't about the substance of my work or my analysis or the credibility of what I'm doing, the artistic merit, right? It's just coming from this deep-seated well of your personal dislike of me or of my work. And so because of that, then it has no meaning, right? Your critique has no meaning because it's not valid. You're not really critiquing my music or my work as a professor or my articles I write. You're just a hater. So it doesn't matter what I do. You would say it was horrible because you're just somebody who's coming from this perspective of everything about me you dislike, right? And if somebody really is a hater and I publicly label them as such, then it means that everything they say and do is meaningless, right? The audience then, whoever I'm telling, I'm saying, hey, look, don't listen to them. They're haters. And if somebody's a hater, then there is nothing valid in any of their arguments, right? They're just coming from this position of they just greatly dislike me or they dislike my work. So once I label them successfully as a hater, people think, oh, well, I can't listen to them. They're just haters, right? Haters don't have anything to say valid. They just hate it. So let's get to the answer of the question, right? The question is, how do I handle haters? The answer is, you don't. That was a short show, right? That was a short show. How do I handle haters? You don't. And let's just clarify that for a few minutes. Okay. If somebody really is a hater, meaning they meet the dictionary definition that they greatly dislike the specified person that is you, or the specified things usually related to you, right? Your work or things of that nature. Okay. If that's the situation, then no matter what it is that you do, no matter how wonderful and awesome, and if you come up with the cure to a disease that saves, millions and millions of lives, it doesn't matter because they're a hater. So literally everything that you do, they greatly dislike, right? So if that's really what you're dealing with factually, then what can you do about that? Nothing. I mean, you could try to think, oh, well, I can make them like me. Well, you can't. And we have a lot of other shows in our library where we spend time explaining why that doesn't work. You cannot make people like you. And if you've ever met me or I've been on site giving a keynote or a corporate education program, then it's been a very common theme since I started giving these presentations and speeches, which has been now several decades, where I over and over again reiterate, sometimes where people cry and get angry with me in audiences, right? And I explain to them, you can't control whether or not the people don't like you. You have nothing to do with it because it's not about you. It's about how they feel. You can't control other people's feelings. So it doesn't matter what you wear or what you say or how you dress, or if there's nothing you can do to make somebody who's just determined that they don't like you, then they don't like you. And you know what? They have the right to not like you. We've talked about this around the world. Now there are different legal systems that basically all do one thing. They try to say, hey, look, I can't make you like somebody because that's not possible, but I'm going to make you treat them with respect at work, right? Because we have to be able to treat people with respect at work, whether it's a coworker or a boss, a team member that we manage, or even more important in some ways, customers and clients, right? I may have a customer or client, I look at them and I'm like, I don't like them. In fact, I'm a hater. Okay, fine. But I don't want them to know that because I don't want them to, not purchase something at my business, right? Because if everybody quits coming to my business because I'm a hater, then my business fails, and then I don't have a job. So it's self-destructive, right? So we have all these rules and societies and laws in many countries where we force people to just be quiet about the fact that you're a hater while you're at work. Now, outside of work, it's totally a whole different world. If this is just a situation where, hey, how do I handle haters outside of work? My neighbor doesn't like me. The people that I hang out with, on the weekends when I go listen to music, some of them are haters. Then honestly, then there's nothing you can do, because there are rules and laws in many countries where they can't do something based on being a hater. They can't beat you up just because they're a hater, physically harm you, right? That's a crime, assault, battery, an apprehension of an assault. So they can't do things that are criminal based on their hatred of you. So that's universal. But the fact that they just don't like you, that's just life. And the fact maybe that they gossip about you, or they don't invite you to do stuff, or they, go out of their way to make you look bad. Again, it's not awesome, but it's just life. I mean, that's just nature of humans, right? Not everybody's going to like the same thing. If they did, then we'd be in trouble. We have over 7 billion people on the planet. We got to like different stuff, different food, different music, right? Different clothes, different colors. You ask people, what's your favorite color? It's a social icebreaker in a lot of cultures. That's not necessarily meant to be a stressful question, but people get really upset about that sometimes. Somebody really likes bright colors, feels like people who like bright colors are not their kind of people. They don't like those people, right? And vice versa. But the point is that we have to have diversity, because we can't all like the same thing, because then we run out of resources. And also, it would be very difficult to function on a scale that we have with so many people without a plethora of options. So if you really do have a hater, how do you handle them? You don't. Because there's nothing you can do. You can't make them not hate you. But let's look at some of the issues where there's misunderstanding. Issue 1. I do have a library show, a show that we've done as part of our 246 episodes. And as we've continued to build these resources, which are just going through the list, it's a lot of content. I feel really happy, right? So that no matter when I leave this earth as we know it, I'm definitely going to be leaving a lot of content behind to try to help people. So we had a show, episode 176, and episode 176 is the best I can do to give you a plan and a strategy for what to do about haters. Okay, so the episode 176, it was part of our Joyful Art of Business series, originally aired in 2014, and it said, each time that you treat yourself badly, your enemies rejoice. So stop. All right, so each time you treat yourself badly, your enemies rejoice, so stop. All right, so an enemy would be someone that's a hater, right? They greatly dislike you. So I have said before, and I will continue to say this, for me personally, and I say this in all candor, I don't have an enemy or any enemies, and I don't perceive that I've ever had any enemies. And part of the reason is that I would never put that much energy into someone I didn't like. Why would I elevate someone that I didn't like into some sort of thing that took up my time and my energy? I wouldn't. Remember, the opposite of love is not hate. It's ambivalence. It's I just don't care. Right? Because love and hate are the same thing, right? There's all that energy there, all this passion. I'm thinking about you. I'm wondering about you. What are you doing? What are you wearing? Where are you going? What are you eating? Right? That means you're like taking up all this space in my mind. So that's the same path. There's just two sides of the same path, right? The opposite of that path, of that intensity, right, is I just don't care. I'm not thinking about you at all. I haven't thought about you. Because I'm not thinking about you, I certainly am not thinking about what are you doing, or where are you, or who are you with, or what are you wearing, or what did you eat, or any of that. I'm not thinking about you. That's the opposite, right? So there's no intensity because you're not at all in my mind. You're not a priority. You're not even on the list of things I think about. Right? So when I say I don't have any enemies, that's what I mean. There's no one that I today, or that I can even think of in the past, beyond when I was like a little child, right? So maybe as a small child, there's that adolescent and early childhood development where whatever, you're 7 years old, and you're learning life and to be a human. And we all go through that. There was a kid in maybe some grade or maybe I was 7 years old. There was some kid that at the time I thought, oh, this kid, I don't like them. I don't want to sit next to them in school. Um, but as we mature to be adults, we learn that those are just part of, the developmental process. That's not a healthy or normal adult behavior, right? I'm not, if there's someone I don't like, then that's okay. Then I just don't let them take up space in my mind. I don't have any enemies. There is no one that I sit around that I don't like, thinking about, worried about, obsessing over. There are a lot of people I care about, that I think about and I check in with, and how are you and what's going on. And there are people that are that are in my daily life, that I, that are everything to me. But there's not anybody that I would put energy. I have so little energy, right? I only got 24 hours in each day. I'm only one person. Why on earth would I spend important and limited time in this life on somebody that I didn't like? That's making sense. So I strongly encourage you, don't have enemies. What would be the point? There's no point. This doesn't benefit you in any way, right? Now, you should have an awareness of people who might think that you're their enemy, right? But you're not playing the game. Like, they may perceive you as their enemy, but you're not perceiving them as theirs, and thus you don't fuel this. You don't do anything to add conflict because you're not engaged. You're not even worried about it. So how do you handle someone who's a hater? Well, you can't. You don't do anything. We just talked about that. But here's a tip. The thing that you can do that really does sort of hurt people who intensely dislike you is you treat yourself really well, right? They talk about, success is the best revenge. It's not revenge necessarily, but here's the thing. Even today, right? So today I'm getting ready and I'm for the day. You you brushing your teeth and washing your face and combing your hair and getting ready for your day. I always anchor myself with good thoughts. Some days I wake up and I'll say, today is going to be the first day of the best of the rest of my life. Okay. I have other things that I'll say to myself, like, this is it. Today's going to be awesome, or whatever. And then I think good things. Every time I'm kind and gentle to myself, every time I say nice stuff to myself, that diminishes, the voices of those who greatly dislike me. And the thing is, I have control over it because I'm in my own head all the time. That's the beauty of it, right? One of the earlier shows we did in this show was we discussed, what do you do and how do you handle. We discussed how do you handle. I'm sorry about that. We discussed how do you handle the thoughts you have a day, right? And the average person has 70,000 thoughts a day. 70,000 thoughts a day, which is just awesome. So when we look at 70,000 thoughts a day, how many of those thoughts am I going to spend on negativity? Against myself? None. And I'm going to work on that. That's like my mission in life, right? Because I already know that if there really is a hater or a group of haters out there, they're going to spend all their time and resources on horrible things about me, right? So it's my mission in life to say good things about me, to counterbalance that, but also to believe it. Because we've talked about in so many different shows, right? The power of confidence, the power of your ability to believe that you can. Why not? The power of you not being at war with yourself, right? Episode 31. That's back in our catalog, right? So this is episode 246. Episode 31. That was a show we did, our Myth Warrior series, and it said, in a fight against yourself, you will always lose. So stop, right? Fight against yourself is people brush their teeth, get ready for the day, and they're saying to themselves, "Oh, look at you! Oh, I can't believe you let yourself go. You're so ugly. Look at this. You're gonna screw up today. You just fail all the time." And it may sound extreme to people who don't do that, but this is real. This is what people do. People literally set themselves up in their own mind. Well, these horrible, abusive, cruel things. And then they get out into the world, and because they're already so beaten down in such a negative frame of mental reference, when somebody else comes along that actually is a hater, it just triggers all of that self-hatred that they already had built up inside. And you get these really bad outcomes, right? So just take that out of your life. It's free. It costs you no money. You're in your own head. You have 70,000 thoughts a day. All that this process is, and it's a lifelong process, is just take your time when you're conscious and being mindful, right? You're paying attention to what you're thinking, right? And just say good things. Don't lie to yourself because you'll know it's a lie, right? So it doesn't work if you feel like, oh, I'm saying in my thoughts, look, I look nice when I'm brushing my teeth, but the truth is I see how ugly I am. Okay, it's not working. You can't fool yourself because you are yourself. You have to truly believe this. You have to find something inside of you that's real that you can believe. And in some shows we've talked about, you have to start for some people, you have to start with, I'm a human. Other people are humans. As a human, I exist, and move toward I exist, and I should be able to exist, with equality. I should be able to exist with a good quality of life and start building a way that you can believe that you're worthy. So again, these issues of being primed, right? Some people, and this is sad to say, but it's, I think, pretty accurate. Some people really do believe that the world is full of um, people who are out to get them, right? That they're just sort of besieged by all of these enemies and haters, and they're just everywhere, and they're trying to destroy their lives. Um, no, it's just not. One of the challenges with the term hater, as we said earlier, it's very powerful because if it's true and somebody really is a hater, they're not engaging in important discussion with you, right? They are literally like coming from a position of everything that you do, they hate. So they greatly dislike, right? So it diminishes their ability to have any kind of real communication or criticism because you know that it's not coming from a place related to the actual substance. It's just all about their emotion that they dislike you and want bad things to happen to you, right? The challenge though is that many people misuse this term and they just label everybody who says something they don't like a hater, and it's nowhere near accurate. Those people aren't haters just because they said your work was late. They're not haters just because they said that it was inappropriate for you to yell at a coworker. That's not a hater. That's true. Your work was late. It is inappropriate to yell at a coworker. That's not a hater. And so the challenge, though, with the term, and like as I said, it's gotten, at least I've observed it being utilized more in the society at large in different parts of the world, is it fuels somebody, right, who's already in a self-destructive frame of mind. So that self-destructive person either is at war with themselves, right? They're saying all these mean and horrible things themselves, right? Or it's somebody whose ego, like they're a narcissist, they love themselves, the opposite challenge, right? They just love themselves so much. So they say all this stuff to themselves and they brush their teeth. You're the greatest thing in the world. No one is as smart as you. All the other people are idiots. I can't believe how wonderful you are. Look at you. Okay. So that's the other side of this, which is, again, delusional. It's delusional to brush your teeth and say to yourself, you're horrible, you're ugly, you're a loser. It's also delusional to brush your teeth and say to yourself, you're the greatest thing in the history of all the universe. Nobody is as smart as you and as good looking as you and as funny as you, and everybody else is an idiot. Both of those are totally wrong, obviously, right? It's not logical. So when you have somebody who's a narcissist, we have some shows from our catalog. One of my favorites is you episode 94. Right, so we're asking, are they really haters, or are you just mislabeling them that because you're operating from a place of low self-esteem, uh, negative self-worth, things of that nature. So in uh, episode 94 from our Myth Warriors series. The show was You Wouldn't Worry So Much About What Others Think of You If You Realized How Little They Do. And there was an Eleanor Roosevelt quote, former First Lady of the United States, a historical figure. The point was that, look, other people aren't thinking about you that much. That's why the narcissist is delusional. You know what other people are thinking about themselves? And they should in a healthy way, right? I said earlier, the reason I would say and I believe I don't have enemies is because I don't sit around thinking about other people. I certainly don't sit around thinking about people that I know don't like me, right? So why would I create an enemy? It's silly and it's a waste of my time. And I don't get anything out of that. It's not healthy. What can I do about it? Nothing, right? So accept it, right? We said earlier, how do you handle an actual hater, somebody who really does just greatly dislike you? You don't. There's nothing you can do about it. I can't make somebody not like me or make somebody like me. It's up to them. It's in their head. It's their life. All I can do is decide whether I'm going to waste my time. I'm being a hater, and I guess we have to say it. What a total waste of time. That's why I said earlier I don't have enemies. Why would I? I'm not going to put my time sitting around worrying about somebody else. I put that into myself, or better than that, once I'm healthy, right, and able, I'm going to help other people. Volunteer. Take time to invest in other people. How are they? What's going on? Can you do something to help? Can you just listen? Be there for someone. Be of service. We did a show on that, right? One of our early shows. So there's a lot that I can do in my time that's not going to sit around and waste it and create all these unhealthy and ridiculous outcomes of me sitting around, me being a hater. So I don't like them. Fine. Leave them alone. Right? If I don't like them and I have to work with them, that's cool. All I'll do then is just limit my work, focus on the work, and then just cut out all the part where they would be able to do something negative, meaning we're not going to hang out afterwards. I'm not going to be thinking about them when I'm on break. Like, leave it alone. Why would I waste? I only have so many minutes, moments in life. I don't know how many because I don't know when I'm going to die, right? So I do know it's limited. So why on earth would I waste it on something as silly as this thing about being a hater? I don't. It's ridiculous. Again, it's not logical. It doesn't give me any good outcome. Because somebody who puts all their energy into being a hater, does it change anything? It doesn't. You could wake up and spend every conscious moment hating whatever this thing is you specifically greatly dislike, right? Every moment, like, I hate them, I hate them, I hate them. And what does that change? Nothing. Do they still exist? Yeah. Are they most likely ignoring you? Yes. So what have you accomplished? Nothing. That's my point. It's not effective. It doesn't work. All right. So if you really do have a situation where someone is a hater, you don't do anything about it. You remember that the opposite of love or great liking isn't hate or dislike. It's ambivalence. It's I just don't care. So just don't care. Leave it alone. They don't like you. Accept it. It hurts. It hurts every single one of us. Somebody doesn't like us. Okay, that hurt. All right, I felt that pain. I accept the fact that I can't do anything about it. It's like you telling me, it's like holding up a rock, right? And saying, this is a rock. Okay, I do see it is. Yeah, it's a rock. I have to accept it. It is a rock. Someone that is a hater is a hater. What can I do? Literally nothing. Just like I cannot change that rock into anything else. I can't make the rock a bird or turn the rock into, a rainbow. It's a rock. So a hater is a hater. Okay. Just like I leave the rock alone, I don't stand there and obsess over that rock. Why won't that rock be something else? Because it isn't. It's this. And there is no way that we know at this moment to turn the rock into something else. And I'm not talking about where you take the rock and maybe you put it deep enough in the earth for long enough and then over, sort of the thermal forces of the planet could turn it into, a gemstone. Yeah, but it's still coming from that place, right? It's not a rainbow. It's not a bird, right? So it is that thing. So if someone is a hater, they are. You don't do anything about it. What can you do? How do I handle it? I don't. I leave it alone. I accept it, but that's what they are. Okay. I don't try to convince them. I don't sit around and think about it. Why do they hate me? Who knows? And even if you do know, what can you do about it? Maybe they just hate the way that you wear your glasses. Maybe they just hate how tall you are. Who knows? And again, even if they've said to you, well, I hate how tall you are. Okay, well, all right. What can I do? I'm not going to change how tall I am. They're a rock. You're a rock. Let it be. We did some shows for people who had issues that were not exactly the same. So we did a library show, episode 56, from our Help Situation Spotlight series. That was, how do I handle jealousy at work? Someone who's jealous isn't necessarily a hater, okay? They're just envious. And there might be a way for you to communicate with them or effectively deal with their behavior that's going to be more effective, okay? We did the show, episode 109, part of our Help Situation Spotlight. That show was, how do I handle frenemies? Friend/enemy. Now that's totally different, right? Because there's all that intensity there. Friends and enemies. There's all that intensity. Remember, the opposite of the intensity is there's no intensity. I totally don't care. I'm ambivalent. Remember, if it's you that's the hater, and you'll know that because you spend a lot of your time talking about other people. That's a clue. If you perceive that there's just haters everywhere all around you besieging you, you're wrong. There's not a person that's ever lived in human history that's accurate. There may be a time that maybe you're in a job or there's an experience, maybe you're in an intense athletic competition or something like that, where at that moment there's a lot of intense attention and people, oh my goodness, I really want to beat you, the other competitors. But that's not someone who's a hater for your life, right? You need to be able to understand that there might be a situation where maybe you're paying heightened attention to someone due to an event or, like I said, something that's transpiring, but that doesn't mean you're a hater of that person for all time. It just meant at that time I want to beat them or I want to win, I want to get that contract, right? I want to, sell more books than they did or whatever. If you have a problem with wanting approval of other people, that's a problem because you can't control approval from other people. The person you have 100% control over approving you is you. That's why earlier and in so many of our programs, we go back to that really easy stuff. What do you say to yourself? Do you say approving things to yourself? Like, oh, good job. Or do you say things to yourself like, you're an idiot. I'm so disappointed in you. All you do is screw up. Okay, well, then you either are at war with yourself or you're your best friend. That's a choice. And we did a show about addiction to approval in episode 130, 136. So I do want to clarify this. Sometimes people think that they have a hater situation, right? Oh, they just like me, and they forget that we talked about at the early part of the show that in many countries there are rules that even though I greatly dislike you at work and even outside of work, I can't behave in ways that'll violate the rules. Like I can't beat you up just because I hate you. That's a crime. I can't steal from you or lie to get you fired, right? That may be harassment at work. So check out episode from our library, episode 79. Episode 79 was part of our Law Lovers Lounge series, and it said, I think I'm being harassed at work. Am I? How do I know? Because harassment is a legal thing. It's one thing for somebody at work not to like me. They don't want to hang out with me or sit next to me in the break room. Fine. It's another thing for them to go to sabotage my career and to engage in illegal activity, right? That prevents me from being able to earn a living. Those are two totally different things. So we talked about that in that show from a global perspective, actually, as we often do. We had some comparative information, I want to say from Japan, a European union member, and from the States. So check that show out if you're not really sure if it's a hater or if their behavior has gotten to a point where it may be violating the law wherever you are in the world, okay? So like I shared with you, the show is interesting because the term is everywhere. And most of the time when people use the term hater, I discount it because I know, or I take it with a grain of salt. Because a lot of times people want to believe that people are haters because it makes them feel kind of like they're getting attention. But there's not that many haters. And if you're not in the middle of like, the world championship or, a huge important business deal, it's not logical that many people really care enough about hating you. It really isn't. They don't even, you're not, that's narcissism, right? Not, do all of us at some point encounter people who intensely dislike us and we could call haters genuinely? Yes, that is universally, I believe, to be true. But that's few and far between. And you need to have a healthy understanding of that so that you don't dismiss important information that may be really trying to help you improve, right? But you think, well, I'm not going to listen to them. They're a hater. Okay, yeah, but not everybody's a hater. If you think they are, then you're not being realistic. So this is, again, one of those things that, like so many of our shows, it seemingly is simple, right? But it isn't. It's incredibly powerful. Because you want to make sure that you use this term in those rare instances only when it applies, and that you just don't run around blanketly labeling anybody who you think dislikes you in any way or gives you any kind of feedback you don't want to hear, right? They don't even dislike you, but you just don't want to hear their feedback. So you're just like, oh, you're a hater. Well, then no. Everybody's not a hater. And I hope that this show got you thinking, and some of the other library shows that we referenced get you really thinking so that you understand and you're not either on one end of the spectrum where you're at war with yourself saying all these awful, horrible, abusive things to yourself and self-sabotaging, or the other end of that spectrum where you're in this narcissistic, deluded world where you just think you're perfect and anyone who ever says anything to you is just ridiculous and you should get everything you want all the time because you're you. No, I mean, no. What? That middle road, that middle way. You support yourself, You believe you can, and you're open and you're honest when you make mistakes and you screw things up, because everybody does. And you're willing to listen to criticism, because that's the only way you're going to learn and get better. We all have to. But there's a difference between criticism and hateful abuse. The content, for one. Are they talking about you, you're a horrible person, you shouldn't even exist, you're the worst thing that's ever lived? Well, that's not helpful. Or are they saying, you know what, that content was missing a big part of the analysis. Your submission could have been organized better. Okay, now that's constructive, right? Those are things that are related to something I can control. I am so continually grateful that you were part of episode 246. I continue to ask you to come to CourtneyAnderson.com. That's our central website. If you find our show somewhere on one of our distribution partners around the world, Libsyn or iTunes or Stitcher or Spreaker or iHeartRadio, please leave ratings or reviews that help us get some traction and get more highly rated, because that helps us in each one of those distribution channels. Also, I am on Twitter at Zealous Business, and reach out to me. Let me know if there's anything that you have, show suggestions, feedback or ideas. And as I again leave the show, there are not that many haters. The very few that there really are, then just you don't worry about it. You don't handle them at all. Just leave it alone. You're not going to engage with them, right? And then if these other situations happen, you got to ask yourself, is it something that could be potentially a legal thing, like it's harassment or somebody's, beating me up? It's not just a hater, right? That's a crime. Or is it a situation where I'm the one, I have so much self-hatred, I'm so insecure, right? That I'm unable to function well and to be healthy with other people, because I'm just on edge all the time, because I just am full of again, self-hatred, which is the worst kind of hater. The worst hater is a self-hater, right? Because they're with you all the time. They never leave. They never stop. But the cool thing about a self-hater, which is you saying horrible things yourself, is you totally 100% control it. Stop it. Isn't that beautiful? Thank you for being part of the show today.